On a cold winter evening, a homeless woman walked into an upscale restaurant hoping for a warm meal. Instead of kindness, she was met with a rude waiter who refused to serve her. What happened next not only shocked the staff, but changed the woman's life forever. Emma shivered as the icy wind cut through her thin coat. Her shoes, worn and full of holes, soaked up the slush from the pavement. She glanced at the glowing windows of a fancy restaurant and paused. Through the frosted glass, she could see well-dressed diners enjoying steaming bowls of soup and glasses of wine. Her stomach growled painfully, and she clenched her fists to muster the courage to step inside. Emma pushes open the heavy glass door, and the warmth of the restaurant hits her like a wave. Conversations hush as all eyes turn toward her. The elegant chandeliers cast a soft glow over the polished floors and neatly set tables. A tall, stern-faced waiter named Kevin approaches her immediately. He's dressed immaculately, his tie perfectly knotted, but his expression is anything but welcoming. Kevin's eyes scan her tattered clothes and unkempt hair. "Can I help you?" he asks, his tone sharp and cold. Emma fidgets nervously. I was hoping for a small meal. I can pay, just not much. Please." Kevin crosses his arms, a smirk playing on his lips. "Ma'am, this isn't a shelter. We can't serve someone like you here." Her cheeks burn with humiliation as whispers ripple through the restaurant. She glances around, hoping someone will step in, but the diners quickly look away, pretending not to notice. Just as she turns to leave, a voice cuts through the tension. "Excuse me." The voice belongs to a man sitting in the corner. He's dressed in a modest gray suit, his dark hair slightly tousled. His name is David, and his sharp, observant eyes lock onto Kevin. "Is this how you treat people who come to you for help?" David asks calmly, but there's an edge to his voice that makes Kevin pause. Kevin stiffens. "Sir, it's not personal. We just have certain standards to maintain here." David stands, placing his napkin on the table. He walks over to Emma and smiles warmly. "Ma'am, please sit. Dinner is on me tonight." Emma's eyes fill with tears. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," David replies. "Just let me take care of this." The atmosphere in the restaurant is thick with unease. The diners, who had been whispering moments ago, now watch in silence. Kevin's face flushes with anger, though he tries to maintain his composure. Kevin crosses his arms tightly, his voice sharp. "Sir, with all due respect, this isn't a charity. We have an image to maintain, and allowing someone like her to dine here sets a precedent we can't afford." Emma flinches at his words, her eyes darting to the floor. David, however, remains calm, though a flicker of anger flashes in his sharp gaze. David steps forward, his voice low but firm. "A precedent, you say? And what precedent would that be, Kevin? Turning away someone in need? Humiliating them in front of a room full of strangers?" Kevin stammers, trying to regain control. I didn't mean it like that, sir. It's just, we have policies, and the manager—" David interrupts him, his tone cutting through Kevin's excuses like a knife. "Policies? Let me ask you something, Kevin. What's more important, policies or people?" A ripple of murmurs spreads through the restaurant as the diners lean in, captivated by the exchange. Emma looks up, her cheeks flushed, unsure whether to stay or flee. Kevin hesitates, the weight of David's words sinking in. "Of course people are important, but nothing," David says, his voice rising slightly. "You're not just serving food here. You're representing this restaurant, its values, and how we treat everyone who walks through that door. Tell me, Kevin, what values do you think this behavior reflects?" Kevin's face pales. He glances around, realizing the entire room is watching him. His shoulders sag slightly as he struggles to respond. I understand, sir," Kevin mutters, his tone subdued. David isn't done yet. He pulls a sleek business card from his pocket and hands it to Kevin. "Perhaps this will help you understand who you're talking to." Kevin takes the card reluctantly and glances at it. His eyes widen in shock as he reads aloud, David Miller. CEO? David nods, his expression calm but commanding. That's right. I'm the new owner of this restaurant chain. And as far as I'm concerned, this establishment isn't worth the chandeliers on the ceiling if it can't show compassion when it's needed most. The room falls silent. Even the faint clinking of cutlery stops as every eye is fixed on David and Kevin. Emma's gaze shifts between the two men, her emotions a mix of disbelief and gratitude. Kevin's voice is barely a whisper. I'm so sorry, Mr. Miller. I didn't realize. David holds up a hand to stop him. Sorry doesn't cut it, Kevin. Actions do. Now I'm going to give you one chance to make this right. Take this lady to the best table in the house, and do so with the respect every guest deserves. Do I make myself clear? Kevin nods quickly, his face flushed with embarrassment. He gestures toward a table near the fireplace, his tone more polite than before. Right this way, ma'am, Kevin says, his voice shaking slightly. Emma hesitates, glancing at David. He gives her a reassuring nod and a warm smile. Go ahead, Emma. You deserve this. As Emma follows Kevin to the table, the tension in the room begins to ease. The diners exchange looks, some even clapping softly in approval of David's actions. Emma sits down at the beautifully set table, her hands trembling slightly as she takes it all in. David turns back to the diners, addressing them with a confident smile. Now that we've settled this matter, I hope you're all enjoying your evening. Remember, kindness isn't just for special occasions. It's for every day. The diners nod and smile, some even raising their glasses in agreement. David walks over to Emma's table and sits across from her, the warmth in his eyes putting her at ease. David leans in slightly and says softly, Let's make tonight a night you'll never forget. Emma is seated at a cozy table near the fireplace. The other diners steal curious glances at her, but she's too overwhelmed to notice. The staff, now scrambling to impress, serve her a lavish 3-course meal. Emma takes a bite of the creamy soup placed in front of her. It's the first warm meal she's had in weeks. Tears stream down her face as she whispers, Thank you. David sits across from her, watching her with a kind smile. You don't have to thank me. Everyone deserves kindness, no matter their circumstances. Emma wipes her tears. People like you are rare. Most don't even look at me. David leans forward. Sometimes all it takes is one act of kindness to change everything. And maybe one day you'll get the chance to do the same for someone else. The restaurant is quieter now, with most diners having left. Emma is finishing her dessert, her cheeks still flushed with gratitude. Kevin approaches their table hesitantly, his hands clasped in front of him. Gone is the stern-faced arrogance. He now looks unsure and remorseful. Kevin clears his throat, his voice trembling slightly. Ma'am, I owe you an apology. My behavior earlier was unacceptable, and I deeply regret the way I treated you. Emma looks up, surprised by the shift in his demeanor. She studies his face, noticing the genuine regret in his eyes. Kevin continues, his voice quieter. The truth is, I was wrong to judge you based on your appearance. I don't know your story or your struggles, and it was unfair of me to make assumptions. I've learned a hard lesson today, and I'm truly sorry. Emma pauses, her gaze softening. The tension in the air starts to dissipate. She places her fork down and looks at Kevin with a small, understanding smile. Emma nods gently. Thank you for saying that. It takes courage to admit when you're wrong. And trust me, I've been judged more times than I can count. But hearing an apology like yours, that's rare. Kevin shifts uncomfortably, his face flushing. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I promise I'll do better. I see now that my job isn't just to serve food. It's to serve people, no matter who they are or what they look like. David, who has been silently observing the exchange, decides to chime in. His tone is calm, but carries an unmistakable authority. Kevin, understanding this lesson is what separates good employees from great ones. People don't just come here for the food, they come for the experience. And how we treat them matters more than anything. Kevin nods, swallowing hard. You're right, sir. I let my own biases cloud my judgment, and I promise it won't happen again. David places a reassuring hand on Kevin's shoulder. Mistakes happen, Kevin. What matters is how you grow from them. Just remember, kindness costs nothing, but it can mean everything to someone who needs it. Kevin's expression shifts from regret to determination. He straightens up and looks at Emma again. Kevin speaks earnestly. Thank you for giving me this chance to make things right. And if there's anything else I can do for you, please let me know. Emma smiles warmly. You've already done more than enough by acknowledging your mistake. That's all anyone can ask for. The three share a brief moment of understanding before Kevin steps away to attend to his duties, his posture lighter than before. Emma glances at David, her eyes shining with gratitude. Emma says softly, You really know how to bring out the best in people, don't you? David chuckles. Sometimes, people just need a little reminder of what they're capable of. And sometimes, they need someone like you to inspire them. The scene fades as Kevin helps another customer, this time with a smile and genuine warmth. The restaurant feels lighter, as though a weight has been lifted. Weeks later, Emma walks into the restaurant again, but this time, she's dressed in a clean uniform. She greets the staff with a bright smile as she ties on her apron. David had offered her a job as a hostess, and she jumped at the opportunity. Now she was earning enough to afford a small apartment and start rebuilding her life. Kevin, now more humble, worked alongside her, treating every customer with respect, no matter their appearance. The restaurant thrived, not just because of its food, but because of the story of kindness that had gone viral. One evening, a young man walked into the restaurant, shivering in a thin jacket. He looked hesitant, much like Emma had weeks ago. She immediately approached him with a warm smile. Hi there, can I get you a table? She asked. The young man looked surprised. I don't have much money. Emma's smile widened. Don't worry about that. Dinner's on the house. David, watching from a distance, nodded in approval. He knew Emma had learned the most important lesson of all. Kindness always comes full circle. The camera pans out, showing the bustling restaurant filled with happy customers. Emma laughs as she serves a table, her confidence growing with every step. Kindness isn't just about helping someone in the moment. It's about creating a ripple effect that can change lives. Subscribe for more uplifting stories like this one.